strength to let go. The story is told of a tourist who goes to visit the Grand Canyon for the first time. On this trip to the Grand Canyon, they are amazed at just how beautiful the scenery is, and they get up the nerve to get as close to the edge of the canyon as possible and look over into the vastness of the canyon, and they are swept away at just how high up they are in the beautiful formation of the rocks leading down to the river below. And as they are taking all of this in, all of a sudden they felt something crawl up their leg, and they get nervous and jump and fall off the edge of the canyon. They reach out with their last reflex and grab on to the edge of the cliff, and as they are hanging on there with nothing but the vastness of the canyon below and looking up, they scream out, "God, if you are there, God, if you are real, God, I need you to save me right now." And all of a sudden there is a gentle breeze that blows, and a voice calmly speaks out, "I am here, my child. I have you. All you have to do is let go." And then our character, our protagonist, thinking about their predicament and situation, taking into account the words that they have just heard, they look up and scream as loud as they can, "Is there anybody else up there?" My brothers and sisters, I don't know about you, but sometimes I have felt like the character in our story, hanging on when I did not have the strength to hang on any longer, hearing the voice of God encouraging me to let go, but being unwilling or unable to let go. My brothers and sisters, that sometimes it's been material goods or possessions that I've held on to, being unwilling or unable to let them go, to give them away, or to throw them away. Sometimes, my brothers and sisters, it's been a habit or a way of thinking that seemed to serve me at one point in time, that seemed to make sense once upon a time, but now in my current situation it no longer made sense, and I knew I needed to let it go, but I seemed unable to for some reason. Sometimes it's been negative emotions about things that have happened or people from my past that I knew I needed to give over to God and move beyond, but it seemed too difficult to let them go. And I know I'm not the only one today, my brothers and sisters. There may be somebody here in this room, and certainly our communities and our schools, and yes, even our churches are filled with people who are unwilling or unable to let things go, even once they recognize those things are hurting them or causing them pain. My brothers and sisters, that sometimes it is unhealthy drug habits or unhealthy eating habits, things that we take into our bodies willingly that we know are causing destruction to our bodies. We know are hurting our bodies, but we are unable or unwilling to let them go. Sometimes it is gossip or anger or other things that interfere with our relationships with one another. And we know that it's causing harm and causing friction, but we seem unable to let it go. My brothers and sisters, no matter what it is, we find ourselves holding on to things, unwilling or unable to let go. Well, the text tells us, it shows us of an individual like this, my brothers and sisters, this rich man, this rich young ruler, as one of the translations says, comes to Jesus knowing that he needs something for Jesus. He comes to Jesus earnestly seeking out, knowing that what he has done to this point in his life, as good as it may have been, as successful as he has been, was not enough. So he goes to Jesus and says, Jesus, what good teacher, what can I do to inherit eternal life? And then Jesus says, well, you know what the scripture says. Follow the commandments. Do the things you were taught to do in Sunday school. And he says, I've done this my entire life. I don't need to come to you for this. Anybody can tell me that. But there is something about you that's different. And so I'm coming to you asking, what is it? How can I have what you have? How can I have the peace that you have? How can I have the internal strength that you have? How can I have the ability to resist what is going on around me the way you do? What is it that makes you different from everyone else? Jesus looks at the man and says, if you really want to know, you must take up everything you have. Sell it to the poor. And then come follow me. My brothers and sisters, now it is interesting to me that so many of our evangelical churches, particularly our white evangelical churches, as seriously as they take the Bible and as literally as they want to take some scriptures, when it comes to this scripture, all of a sudden it becomes about metaphor. This scripture is never meant to be taken seriously. Jesus was not saying this to everyone. Jesus was saying this to this particular person. Because we don't want to follow a Jesus that makes demands of us, that we let go of those things that we have worked so preciously hard to hold on to. But Jesus says to this man, if you want to follow me, you must sell all you have, give the money to the poor, and come follow me. And the Bible says that the man went away very sad because he had a great many things and he was unwilling to let go. My brothers and sisters, whether or not we want to acknowledge it, that this particular passage is not just speaking in terms of metaphor, but this passage is part of a critique that Jesus levies on people's love affair with money. It is a critique on the Roman economy, my brothers and sisters, that is dependent upon the oppression of certain people in order for other people to get rich and wealthy. If Jesus were telling this, we're talking in this time, what he would say would not be much different, because our current capitalist system is very much built on the same oppressive measures of the Roman economy, my brothers and sisters. And while the way we claim to treat our citizens may seem just a little bit better than what Rome did, the same way that Rome used a heavy-handed approach both internally and externally around the world to try to secure their presence as the world's leading superpower, so does the American empire use the same type of force in order to secure our power, my brothers and sisters. In other words, what I'm trying to say to you is that the comfort, the American dream that is put before us, the ability to achieve a level of economic prosperity and financial security where all of our concerns and worries are taken care of, come at a cost. Sometimes that cost is felt here at home. There are people who must be poor in order for some people to be rich. Oftentimes, that invisible cost is what's happening around the world, my brothers and sisters. We wonder why there are so many countries that seem to hate America and the American way of life. It is not because we are a freedom-loving people. It is not because we are a peace-loving people. It is because we talk about freedom and peace here inside these walls, while in their countries we promote violence and chaos. It is that we sell arms, we sell weapons to people who promote violence in other lands and other countries, while we claim that we are against violence here. That America's wealth, my brothers and sisters, is caught up in making most of the rest of the world poor, so that we, in a few countries that we are friendly with, can enjoy the prosperity that is been taken, ravaged, stolen from other countries. My brothers and sisters. And so the critique that Jesus offers to this man is a critique on the system and the empire that we live in. But it's not just a critique on this man. It's not just a critique on the rich, but it's also a critique on those who aspire to be this man. Because can't you hear Peter as he is asking the question? Jesus says, man, how difficult is it for rich people to get into heaven? And Peter says, who then can be saved? Now, mind you, my brothers and sisters, Peter was by no means rich. Peter was not wealthy. Peter was a tradesman. He was a fisherman in a part of the world where wealth was hard to come by. So he could not have sold enough fish in order to make himself to be a person of wealth. Peter was not wealthy, but there was a part of Peter that aspired to wealth. Peter looked at what was happening around him, and he remembered the way that he grew up hard, the challenges that he had being able to feed himself and his family when he was a child, and probably learned to be a fisherman, hoping to be able to alleviate that for his own family, thinking that when I get old enough and I am in charge of my own family, my family won't go hungry the way I did, and so I'll become a fisherman so that if nothing else, I can at least go out and get enough food to feed my family. Peter grew up in this part of the world that was economically ravaged, and so he is trying to scrape out an existence, a menial existence, as a fisherman when Jesus says, come and follow me. And that's why Peter gives up his trade and goes to follow Jesus in hopes and pursuit of something better. But Peter still is holding on to this ideology that perhaps if he works hard enough, perhaps if he tightens his bootstraps tight enough, perhaps if he wakes up early enough and does not go to bed until very, very late, perhaps he can work himself up into a higher class, a higher economic status. And when he sees the rich man, he sees who he hopes to be. So when Jesus offers a critique of this rich man, it says how hard is it for him to get to heaven, even though Peter does not share the rich man's class status. He shares the aspiration to that class status. He shares an emotional connectivity, a longing to be where that rich man is. And so Peter is asking the existential question, if what I long to be, if who I long to be is having problems getting into heaven, who then can be saved? My brothers and sisters, this story is not just about the rich man letting go, but it's also about Peter letting go, because Peter has to let go of these aspirations to achieve class status if he aspires to enter into the kingdom of God. He has to let go of what he thought he wanted out of his life if he is to hold on to what he has recently found truly matters. And my brothers and sisters, this is a wrestling that many of us have with life, because most of us do not live in a place where our riches pose a serious threat to our mental or emotional health or well-being or our soul. Most of us just don't make that much money. But it is the aspiration, it is the desire, it is our wanting to be somewhere higher than we are that can get in our way. And sometimes, my brothers and sisters, that aspiration, that desire to be like someone else, that aspiration to have something more, that aspiration can be challenging, my brothers and sisters, because even when we get to the place where we begin to find peace, and we begin to find joy, holding on to that aspiration can get in the way of that peace and joy. Jesus said to his disciples that no one can serve two masters. You will love one and hate the other, or you will love the other and hate the one. And just in case they didn't get it the first time, Jesus said, you cannot serve God and man. or you cannot serve God and wealth. You cannot serve God in capitalism. And so the desire to achieve a place of wealth, my brothers and sisters, that is dependent upon others' oppression in and of itself is ungodly. It runs counter to who God is and how God shows up in the text. And so Jesus is telling his disciples, if you want to follow me, you must give up this notion that you can achieve a level of wealth that's built on other people's oppression. The notion of capitalism, of getting all we can, canning all we get, and sitting on the can is a fundamentally bankrupt notion, my brothers and sisters. And we cannot live into it and claim to be Christians and claim to be followers of Jesus Christ. That's why Cornel West calls Jesus, he refers to Jesus' teachings as being aligned with democratic socialism, my brothers and sisters, because Cornel West understands that that capitalism is a fundamental threat to Christianity, and that the places where our Christianity tries to line itself up with capitalism is where it has been compromised. It is where our Christianity is unable and unwilling to do the things that is necessary to do in order to be true followers of Christ. It is why people can build major cathedrals in the midst of cities that are bankrupt. And the church has more money than any public school in the city. It is why churches can have monuments that are huge and seem to speak of the power of God, but are unable to affect the poverty that is surrounding them. My brothers and sisters, it's because the churches have been caught up in American capitalism and have neglected the work and mission of God. And so, my brothers and sisters, whether it is these aspirations that we must give up, or the things that plague or trouble us on a personal level, we have to find, one way or another, the strength just to let go. My brothers and sisters, now I have to admit that the sermon title is a bit of a misnomer, because the truth is it takes more strength to hold on to it than it does to let go. The fact is that holding on to these things that we know we need to let go is more emotionally, mentally, spiritually, sometimes even more physically draining than it would be to let go. But somehow, some way, we've got to develop the spiritual and emotional strength to trust what we know to be right and to let go and let ourselves exist in God's presence. How do we do it? How do we find the strength to let go, my brothers and sisters? I gotta tell you that this is going to be a quicker sermon than most. Most of the times I have 3 points for you that are laid out that walk through the text, but I don't have 3 points for you today, my brothers and sisters. I only have 1. So if you're holding your amen for the 3rd point, you might want to get it out right now and get ready to lose it, because there's only 1 point in this text on how we get the strength to let go. It is right there in what Jesus says to the man in the invitation. It is an invitation not just to let go, but it's the second part of that invitation to come follow me. And the Bible says the critical flaw in this man was not that he was sad at what Jesus said. It was not in his emotional reaction to Jesus's invitation. It was not even in his unwillingness to let go. It was not in his attachment, my brothers and sisters. The fatal flaw in this man is that because of his sadness and because of his attachment, he chose to walk away. Jesus said, "Come follow me," and the man decided instead to turn and walk away. He turns and walks away from Jesus. He turns and walks away from the one whom he sought out for the answers. The man turned and walked away, my brothers and sisters, and that was the flaw, because he could not just stay there in the presence of Jesus, my brothers and sisters. How we find the strength to let go is by staying there in the presence of presence of Jesus. It's a principle, my brothers and sisters, that I like to call substitution. Now, often we talk about substitution in Jesus, who is a substitute for us on the cross of Calvary, who was a substitute for us in terms of sin. But this principle of substitution is a little bit different, my brothers and sisters. It's a principle that I learned when I realized that my own health and eating habits were a threat to my life. Okay. One day, I just woke up and I realized that as the calendar kept turning, I was at that time approaching 40. And as I was approaching 40, my brothers and sisters, I was in the range where my siblings, my brothers, health had begun to fail. And so I had my oldest brother died because of poor health habits at the age of 37. My middle brother died because of his inability to monitor or regulate his health at the age of 45. And so I was now entering that range where one brother had already passed and soon reaching the age where the other brother had passed. And as I began to get to that place, I realized I needed to start doing something different with my own health. Remembering that my grandmother was diabetic all of her life, and that my middle brother was unable to regulate his own diabetes, which led to his health going down, that I said, well, the first thing I ought to do if I'm going to monitor my health is to stop eating as much sugar. Now, I got to tell you, my brothers and sisters, I have a problem I love sugar. I do. There was a time when the best part of the day was when I would wake up in the morning and go to Bustin' Donuts or Hopeman Donuts, depending on where in the city I was, and grab a donut and coffee. And sometimes I would just grab 2 donuts, not because I needed 2 donuts, I didn't even need one, but I would have one for now and one for later. But then later became as soon as now passed, because as soon as I ate the first donut, I was ready for the second one. So I'd have my donut with my coffee. There'd be times, my brothers and sisters, where I would have sugar with every meal, and sometimes sugar would be the meal, my brothers and sisters. There was a time when you could not give me enough carrot cake or chess pie or sweet potato pie because I loved it and I would eat it all, my brothers and sisters, glad to enjoy it because my body had developed an unhealthy relationship with sugar. Now, I know I'm not the only one for whom this is true, because science tells us that sugar is more addictive even than cocaine. Now, but when we talk about what drugs get regulated and what drugs don't get regulated, my brothers and sisters, that's a whole different conversation. But let's just say that the way the government regulates drugs is not based on their safety, but it's based on their ability to get a profit off of it and feel justified in their getting a profit off of it. That's what this is about, my brothers and sisters. And so sugar was becoming a health hazard for me, and I knew I needed to give it up. I knew I needed to give it up, especially as I'm getting older, and I still like to play basketball. At one time, I could eat sugar all day and play basketball, and it wouldn't be an issue because it would balance each other out. But the older I get, even though my body thinks it can move as fast, it does not. And my metabolism definitely does not move as fast. And so the sugar hangs around longer than it ought to, my brothers and sisters. And so it was even getting in the way of me being the basketball player I want to be as I get older. And so there were plenty of reasons why I should give it up. But every time I drove down Madison Road and I crossed over that light and there was Buskins right there, it felt like my car would just go into auto drive and it would just find itself into the parking lot. And before I realized that I was there at the counter, and I told myself I was only going to get one, but when I looked in the bag, somehow there were 3 donuts in the bag, and then I get in the car and I say I'm not going to eat all 3, but before I got to my destination, I looked down, and for some reason there were no donuts left in the bag. I said I was going to control. But somehow I found that I had lacked the ability, the strength I needed. And so, my brothers and sisters, I had to come up with a plan to help when I got into that situation, so I used to carry what I would call emergency bananas. Because I always love bananas, especially the riper they are when they get to the point where they're just about all brown. To me, that's the best part, when all of the sweetness is there in the banana. So I would carry bananas in the car with me. And so anytime I would get to Buskin, I would break open an emergency banana and I would eat the banana. Now I gotta tell you, when I first started doing it, I would still go to Buskin. And I would still buy the donut. But if I ate the banana first, the taste of the donut just wasn't the same. All of a sudden now, because I had the banana and I had the natural sweetness that was in the fruit, the artificial sweetness of the donut now was too much. It didn't seem right anymore. It just left a bad taste in my mouth. And so whereas at one point in time, I would eat 3 donuts without thinking about it, now I couldn't even get through one because the taste wasn't the same. And so, my brothers and sisters, I would keep this stash of emergency bananas in my car, and it got to the place where when I would drive by Buskin, I would eat my emergency banana, remembering how bad the donut tasted after eating the banana would stop me from even going into Buskin. And so I would no longer buy the donuts. And so not only was I saving my body from the sugar, but I was saving my bank account from putting all of my wealth into Buskin babies. Just the substitution principle, my brothers and sisters, realizing something I needed to let go and putting something else in its place, something that was richer, that was truer, something that was more beneficial to me, something that made me feel better instead of feeling worse, my brothers and sisters. Doing that gave me the strength I needed to let go. Now, I love to tell you that I haven't been to Buskin Bakery since, but this is an ongoing battle, my brothers and sisters. And so in this ongoing battle, every once in a while, I gotta put some more emergency bananas in my car so I can get back on the right track. But having that helps me to be able to steer myself in the right direction. What I'm trying to say, my brothers and sisters, is that in our struggle, in our endeavors to try to find the strength to let go, what we need to do is to substitute the thing that we are trying to let go with something that is better in the first place. So, my brothers and sisters, I just believe if this man who was struggling to let go of his possessions had just substituted the time he spent in his possessions, time that he recognized was isolating him from the people around him, time that he recognized was keeping him separate from the people who were in his community, probably even from the people in his own family. If he had substituted that time that he was indulging in his own possessions and began to substitute that with time with Jesus in the community of people that Jesus was walking with and talking with, then I believe he would have found the strength to let go. I believe, my brothers and sisters, if he had walked with Jesus long enough, maybe he would have been there when Jesus was there with 4,000 people at one point in time, or 5,000 people at another point in time, and saw the bravery of a young man willing to give up his very lunch, the only thing that he had, to Jesus, so that Jesus could feed the 5,000. And then if this man saw the bravery of this young boy, it would have helped him to be able to give something up. Maybe he would have seen the bravery of Jairus, who was willing to throw away his pedigree, his position, the relationship he had with people at the temple, to go and find Jesus, the person that the people in the temple were conspiring against because his daughter was sick, and he knew that he needed somebody like Jesus to heal his daughter. And maybe if he had seen Jairus' faith and willing to let go of his prestige and position, he would have found the strength to let go of some of his possessions. Maybe along the way, he would have seen this woman who had an issue of blood, and because of her issue of blood, was cast out of the society. And this woman who was willing to risk her freedom and perhaps her life to crawl through the legs and the feet of the people to get to Jesus, and just to grab the hem of his garment. Maybe then he would have had the strength to let go of some of his possessions if he had just stayed around Jesus long enough. Maybe, my brothers and sisters, just maybe he would have found the strength that he needed to let go. Which is why, my brothers and sisters, even in this day and age when convenience seems to be the driving force of our society, when it is hard for us to make sacrifices to do things that we cannot do at the touch of a button, it's important that we still take time once a week to come and gather together and be in the house of God. To be here in the presence of Jesus, because we are in the presence of one another. And in this presence, my brothers and sisters, we can find the strength that we need when we come together and we pray. We can find the strength that we need when we come together and read the Bible. We can find the strength that we need when we come together and sing our songs. We can find the strength that we need when we come together and hear the preached word. We can find the strength that we need to let go. Let go of those things that have been hurting us. Let go of those things that are keeping us away from being the people we are designed and destined to be. Let go. So that we can truly follow God. God is inviting us, my brothers and sisters, to enter into God's presence through the person and the power of Jesus, so that we can let go of those things that are hurting us, that are holding us back, and be the people that God is calling us to be. We have a practice here at Beloved Community Church that we call response to the word. It is our way of acknowledging that God does not just speak through me because I'm the one up here in front of the microphone. That God desires to speak to and through each and every one of us. And so we take time as a part of our worship to say, God, what is it that you are saying to me? God, how is this message important and relevant in my life? And as we begin to hear God speak those words into our hearts, we don't just keep it to ourselves, but we turn, we find a friend or a neighbor, and we share with them what God has shared with us. So for those of us who are here in this building, or for those who are watching us on Facebook or on YouTube, we invite you, even at this time, to find a friend or a neighbor and to share with them what God is sharing with you right now.